Welcome back to the Steward's Mind. Session 5, Choosing Your Identity for the First Time. Our scripture today will be Romans 4 verse 17 and Galatians 6 verse 9. I hope you're having a lovely day and please enjoy the framework. We went through 4 sessions of groundwork. We named a lie, we exposed the thermostat, we demolished the distortions, we discovered who God says we are, and today is the most important session of week 1. Because today you make a choice. Not a feeling, not a hope, a deliberate, conscious choice. You're going to choose your financial identity for the first time. Most people never make this choice. They simply continue operating from the identity they received, adjusting slightly at the edges when circumstances demand, but never fundamentally replacing the core program. So the old thermostat keeps running. And the results keep coming, exactly where the setting is set. And a decade after decade, the financial life looks remarkably similar to what was inherited, because the identity producing it was never actually changed. And so today we want to change this. Romans 4 verse 17. As it is written, I have made you a father of many nations. He is our Father in the sight of God, in whom he believed, the God who gives life to the dead, and calls into existence the things that do not exist. Read that last line again. And calls into existence the things that do not exist. Read it one more time and let it settle in, because it becomes your motivation. God calls into existence the things that do not exist. Galatians 6 verse 9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest, if we do not give up. And once again, read this slowly, if we do not give up. Let's develop this line by line. Calls into existence. Kalontas ta me anta. Kalantas is calling, summoning, naming into being. Ta me anta, the things that do not exist, the things that have no being yet. This is the creative power of declaration aligned with truth. It's not simply wishful thinking. It's not a denial of your present reality. The deliberate faith-grounded choice to align yourself with what is declared true by God Himself, even when it is not yet visible in your circumstances. Now, Abraham did this. He believed God's promise of descendants when he had not a single child. His body was as good as dead. Paul says that directly. And yet he did not waver in unbelief. He was fully persuaded that God had power to do what He had promised. And that is the model for choosing an identity that does not yet fully exist in your financial reality. Let's pause and reflect for a moment. What would it mean for you to believe God's declaration about your financial identity? Even when your bank account tells you a completely different story. What does Abraham's faith look like applied to your financial thermostat? Take a moment and think about these things. Now we look at the word weary, enkakomen, to become weary, to lose heart, to give in to evil through exhaustion. Paul is writing to people who are doing the right things and not seeing the results. He does not say keep going because results are coming soon. He says keep going because the harvest is real. The timing is God's. The faithfulness is yours. Do not give up is not a motivational slogan. It's a theological statement about the nature of seed time and harvest. Pause and reflect. Where in your financial life have you been doing the right things? Because obviously you must be doing something right. And not yet seeing the results you expected. Have you been tempted to give up on the process? What would it look like to stay faithful to the next 30 days? Regardless of what the bank account shows on day 30, again, take a moment and to be honest. What choosing your identity is not. Before we make the choice, it is important to name what this is not, because there are counterfeit versions of this that have burned people and produced a lot of unhealthy cynicism. Number one, it is not positive thinking. It is not repeating statements that you do not believe, hoping that they become true through sheer repetition. That approach produces emptiness, not transformation. You have probably tried something like it before and found it hollow. It is not denial. Pretending your financial situation is better than it is won't help either. Ignoring real problems or avoiding practical action won't help. That is not faith, that is foolishness. It is not a one-time event. You do not choose your identity once, say such as today, and the work is done. No, identity change is actually a daily, if not hourly, practice. The thermostat does not reset overnight. That's one of the problems in living in our automated society, is that we expect quick success. Real success takes time. An act of faith is the fullest biblical sense. Aligning yourself with a truth that is more real and more foundational than your current experience. The disciples left their nets before they had evidence of where they were going. That was not recklessness, that was faith responding to a clear call. Have you heard the call over these 4 sessions? Today you get to respond to that. Building the identity from what we have covered. For context, let us assemble it deliberately. Every piece of this comes from what we established in sessions 1 through 4. Number 1, you are the image bearer of God, designed to create, build, and multiply something. That was declared before you were born, before the poverty theology, before our poverty, before the inherited thermostat. The declaration preceded everything that tried to bury it or stuff it. You are a steward, entrusted with resources that belong to another, accountable for their faithful management, called to produce increase, not merely preserve or consume. You are not defined by your financial history. You can change that. Every pattern in your past was produced by a program that you did not write. You are choosing a new program today. You are not spiritually safer when you are financially struggling. That was a distortion, and you named it. Financial health expands your capacity to give, to serve, build, and model something different. You are capable of financial growth. Not because of your intelligence or discipline alone, but because you have access to wisdom the world does not have. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and wisdom applied consistently produces fruit. You are in process. You are beginning. The thermostat does not reset overnight. There will be days in the next 25 sessions when the old program reasserts itself. There might be times when fear will come back, when the scarcity thinking returns, when the old identity feels more real than the new one. That is normal. That is how deep change works. When the old identity shows up, you do not panic. You simply make the right choice again, as many times as it takes. So let's get personal here if it's to come naturally. Share a moment from your own journey where you had to make the choice again, where the old program came back and you had to deliberately choose the new identity. The vulnerability is exactly what everybody needs to hear. So in my own particular case, there are times when I have done work for people totally free of charge, because after all, they were widows or single or just needed help, and I didn't feel right charging them. That has affected my own wealth, and of course I was in a position where I could have used that money. So you have to come up with your own ideas. You're now in the first week of the steward mindset, and today's declaration, this is not just a session declaration, this is the foundation declaration for the entire 30-day journey. So it'd be good to read it or listen to it with that weight in mind. Romans 4 verse 17, the God who gives life to the dead and calls into existence the things that do not exist. That God is working in your financial life right now. Read the declaration as a genuine act of choice. Here it is. I am an image bearer of God, created with the capacity and calling to create, build, and multiply. I am a steward of what has been entrusted to me, called to manage it faithfully and return it with genuine increase. I release the inherited identity of financial scarcity and lack. I release the theology that made staying poor feel like staying faithful. I release the fear that financial growth is spiritually dangerous. I choose the identity of a faithful steward. I choose the path of wisdom that produces fruit. I choose to take every thought about money captive and bring it into alignment with truth. I am being transformed by the renewing of my mind, and that transformation is real whether I can feel it fully today or not. Reflection questions. This is week 1, and the closing question is to be taken seriously. What would you do differently in your financial life if you were fully and consistently operating from the identity that you just declared? Do not edit the answer before it arrives. Do not immediately assess what seems realistic. Just let the answer come. Write it down if you can, because that answer is a map to your future. It is showing you the distance between where the old identity has kept you and where the new one is calling you. This really deserves a time of reflection. In closing, week 1 is complete. The foundation has been laid. We named a lie. We identified the thermostat. We demolished the distortions. We discovered what God says we are. And today we made the choice. Next week, we go deeper into the specific beliefs that need to be replaced one by one. The demolition continues, but now you know what you are building toward and what to expect. Keep going. Galatians 6 verse 9 says, at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And so the encouragement words is, do not give up. This has taken me many years of study, and this will take some time. And it will be good for you to do so because it will change your future.